Hello, today is September 17th, 2020, and today we're going to be going over my presidential electoral college prediction for this year in the United States. So let's start with the safe Democratic states, which means 15% or more. That's what that color means. This means 7% to 14.9%. This is likely. Lean is 2.1% to 6.9%. And tilt is 2% or under. Same with the Republicans. So, states that I think will go to Biden by 15% or more, or again, safe, are Washington, California, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Maryland, DC, and Hawaii. New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware both went to Hillary by under 15 points, around 10 to 14. But with this new COVID stuff going on and a lot of approval changings in these states, especially with Rhode Island, like -40, I definitely expect Trump to lose these states by more than he did in 2016. So let's, and I'll speak about Delaware, I guess. Delaware was polling 17% for Democrats, well, at least for Biden, and then 21% for Biden. All the other candidates were really close. So I decided, it's probably going to be likely or lean. So I never put it into my videos until last month. But I still think Delaware is going to be closer than 15 points. It was in 2016, and I expect to do it again. Even though Biden served here, there's less of a home field advantage than you think. Otherwise, Biden would be winning in Pennsylvania by like 8 points. He is not, at least anymore. Oregon went to Hillary by exactly 11%. I expect it to go to him. I expect it to go to Biden by around the same margin, maybe 13 points. Probably like 10 points, though. I see it getting a little bit closer. However, Oregon just flip-flops every year between the direction it's going. So, Oregon is something not to worry about if you're a Democrat, but something to look for, just in case. New Hampshire, I expect to be a lean state. It went to Hillary by 0.3 points in 2016, making it the second to closest state. I expect Biden to carry this by 6 or 7 points. That's just it. I expect Biden to completely reverse what Trump did in New Hampshire in 2016, which was make it closer. Biden's ahead by over 30 points in Maine's 1st district. 2 new polls came out in Maine's 2nd district, which suggested as a lean. And honestly, polls in Maine are pretty accurate, really. We're in the districts at least. I'm gonna go with the polls on these two. Definitely, at least for me. I trust that more. Even though the polls were mostly incorrect in 2016, they were very correct in 2018 and were sorry about that. They weren't as wrong as you think they were in 2016. The only state that was out of margin to go red was actually Wisconsin. And if you only count on election day, it was within margin to go to Trump by a lean or tilt margin, and it did end up going to him by tilt. I expect Wisconsin to go to Biden currently by I can't talk. Currently, I expect it to go to Biden by a likely margin. Wisconsin is actually, in this election, I believe, more blue than Michigan is, which I am keeping on a lean margin. Instead, I had these two reversed like that, but I really do think that Wisconsin will go to Biden by a lean margin, no, a likely margin, and Michigan will go to Biden by a lean margin. Again, these are both flips from 2016, so it could easily be within the tilt margin for both of them, which is something that I wouldn't be surprised of if it's way more close than I expected. However, I don't know. Polls are kind of suspicious this year, but it's also because so many states are changing really fast. Like, here's a good example. 2016, Trump won Iowa by 9 points. It's now in tilt. I'm keeping it as a lean. Ohio, actually, well, let's talk about Iowa, not now. But Texas, actually, Hillary outperformed and made it a likely state. I believe it was like leaning actually 11 points for the Republicans in 2016, but then Trump ended up winning it by 9 or 8, one of the two. So technically, if Biden outperforms as much as Hillary did, or he'll probably outperform by more, or underperform, we'll see, he's going to win Texas by a lean or a tilt. However, I do not see this happening. I see Texas going to Trump by a very small margin, under 2 points. And with everything going on, I've said multiple times, it could even flip. I definitely expect, with thousands of Democrats moving and being born here and turning 18 here every single year, I definitely expect Texas to be a lean or tilt margin in 2024. If it's a likely margin, that's a little insane. But this time I definitely think it will go red. And we'll have a whole video on Texas if it goes blue. That'll be really interesting. Oklahoma, South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Arkansas, Kentucky, West Virginia, Utah again. I expect to all go to Trump by over 15%. Oh, and Alabama, and Nebraska at large, Nebraska's 3rd district, and Nebraska's 3rd district. I expect all these states to go to Trump by over 15%. Now, Montana is probably only closer this year because it's a close House, Senate, and governor race. And the last poll had Trump up by 4 or 5 points here. So if you go off latest data, Montana's a lean state, but it's on its average, which is probably more accurate than the last poll, especially since it's a Democratic internal poll. Montana will probably go to Biden by no, probably go to Trump by a likely margin. Kansas has a close Senate race. That could be a little bit of the influence here, or it could just be the fact that the state is changing. Trump's only leading by like 8 points here, and I expect it to go to him by around 8 to 10 points. Montana, Tennessee, Missouri is also a red state that almost went blue in 2008, but it is not going blue anytime soon. Trust me. There was a poll where Biden was actually leading there this year, which is really, really interesting. There was also a poll in 2016 in Kansas that had Hillary up. So again, I'm just trying to be really out there, going through all the possibilities, but then also stating what I think will happen. Missouri will be a likely state. I do not see it going to Trump by more than 15 points, but I do not see it going to Trump by less than 5 points. So, overall, I see it going to him by likely margin over 7 points, around 8 to 10. Indiana is leading 10 points for Trump, and Tennessee is also doing the same. And to be honest, I don't really have anything to say about that. I just think it's really accurate, and the approval says this too. The state trends this year also say the same. Indiana and Tennessee probably have really accurate polls. South Carolina, no, let's not go to that yet. Louisiana is polling 8% for Trump. I see it going to him by like 12, maybe 14, but not over 15. So, again, I think they're underestimating a lot in these Republican states. People probably think there's going to be a better turnout like there was in 2008, especially with Joe Biden running, who was connected to the Obama administration. However, I still see Louisiana, again, having more turnout, just like Mississippi, but I don't see it being a lean margin or going for the other candidate. South Carolina is one of the biggest changing states right now. There's a close Senate race. There is a close nothing else race, really. Trump's only leading in South Carolina by 6 points. So technically a lean margin, but I expect it to go to him by around 9. That's 5% closer than it was in 2016. It went to Trump by 14 points. Same with Alaska, which is also a trending state. I'll put these both in the same category. Although Alaska is polling 1, 3, and 6. So really close. Lean or tilt. I think it's going to be a likely state for Trump. Like 8 points. So a minimum likely state. North Carolina I have going as a tilt red. Even though Biden's leading by 3 points in the latest poll, I think Republicans are being underestimated, and I think they're going to pull out a small victory in North Carolina. Iowa, I see being a lean state. It went to Obama both times from 2008 to 2012 by a pretty decent margin, but then in 2016 it went to Trump by a likely margin, which is a huge flip from what it did. And I don't expect it to do the same. I just think it was establishing its Republican red territory that's saying, hey, we are a Republican state. So Iowa, I do believe, will go red again, and probably for the rest of everyone's lives that are alive right now. Expect a while for Iowa to change back to blue. We had it for 8 years, but that's it. I'm pretty sure it went red and... No, actually, I don't know if Gore won it. So, I still think it's now a Republican state and will end up being a Republican stronghold, just like our next state, Ohio. Ohio, I expect to be the first time it's gotten an election wrong in over 70 years, which is a huge amount of time. It's a national bellwether. Ohio just went to Trump by too much points and outperformed the polls too much for me to think that it could go to Biden again. And Trump's still winning here after everything that's happened. So I really do expect Ohio to go red. There's no doubt behind it. Same story with Georgia, except Georgia is actually a trending blue state, and it could go blue this election. Technically, right now, on the past 5 polls average, it is leaning for Joe Biden. But on the average since March, it is not leaning for Joe Biden. It's going to Trump by around 1.5 points. Still expected to go red by under 2 points, and it went to Trump by 5.5. So yeah, Minnesota, I expect to be a lean state. It went to Hillary by a tilt margin. I expect the Democrats to expand a lead here. They have a really strong Senate grab here, as well as good House races here. Just everything in Minnesota is going pretty well for them. There's polls having Minnesota up by 3 for the Democrats, and then literally by the same pollster the next day, up 17 for the Democrats. So Minnesota could literally be a likely state for the Republicans or a safe state for the Democrats. We don't know. I assume these are extremely inaccurate, and I expect to go to Biden by around 5 points, but this is based purely off of my prediction, not related to any polls or anything. This is the first state that I'm not going off of anything for, besides 2016. I'm just going to have Pennsylvania there. I don't want to talk about it too long because we're running out of time. But Pennsylvania, I expect to go to Biden by a lean, or actually, the lean margin, at least right now. I don't know how well it's going to be after the presidential debates, but I do expect the presidential debates to decide Pennsylvania. I expect it to be one of the states that decide the whole election, actually. So, yeah. Pennsylvania right now is leaning for Biden in every way, including approval, which should actually put Pennsylvania as a likely, but I still have it as lean anyway, because I think they're underestimating Republicans in every single state. Virginia, Colorado, New Mexico all went to Hillary by a lean to likely margin. Colorado and Virginia around 5 points, New Mexico 8 points. Obviously, Trump has not gained support. You could expect these states to be likely states. Sorry about if you hear barking. Sorry about that. Hold on. Nevada is a lean state. I don't want to talk about that. It's annoying. Latino vote is expanding for Biden after his long time-ish fails that he's been doing the past few months. However, Florida, I don't know how much it's going to change because it was a national poll that showed the Hispanic vote gaining after his first visit in Florida since he became the nominee. Florida, I still expect to go to Biden anyway because he's gained support among white people, which make up the majority. So, yeah, just Florida, I'm having it as tilt blue. Maine, I don't know why. I think we already talked about this. It's a likely blue state is leading over 10 points for Biden, actually. I could say it goes by safe, but it's going by likely, and I'm 100% sure. Arizona, honestly, we just have to rely on the polls in Arizona for anything we can predict here, because the Senate, including the Senate race, but voter turnout is mysterious here. It looks like it's going to be more. Trump has done a lot of bad choices in Arizona. A lot, actually. Especially with this John McCain thing he recently did. That's going to affect him way more than he would think. But Arizona, I expect to pull out a win for the Democrats for the first time since 1996, or technically 2018, if you're just counting Democrats in general, where Kristen Sinema won over the election against Martha McSally. Arizona will go blue, no doubt in my mind. I'm 100% sure. And I will personally cut myself on stream. I'll literally I'll stub a nail. I'll stub a toe on purpose or something. I don't know. I'll do something to hurt myself on stream if Arizona does not go blue. I'm just trying to say how confident I am. I don't really have a good way. Whatever. Nebraska's 2nd district is leading for Biden by 9 points, and now expected to be leading for him around 8 or 7 points. I expect it to narrow up, but not really. So I expect it to go to him by lean, actually. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. This is a long video.